Hey, so this is what happened to me more recently that is funny. I've actually not gotten to the point of laughing about it yet. Maybe give it a few more months or years. Like I'm still recovering from the effects, so it's not even in retrospect. It is still through it. But anyway, so I'm an engineer by profession, and I've had a difficult time since graduating, finding a job. Yeah, like I'm not one of those people who nearly took a campo and got a job instantly. But the okay, you're saying girls have it easier is a scam. Because I worked for so long in this damn male dominated career. So like but recently Sasando I got a place. Like eventually, and I got a place, so I've just started. It's not paying as well. It's not paying good, let me just say that. So I've been looking for other opportunities, and so I've been sending a lot of applications, trying to pull connections here and there to get a place that could give me better. So recently friend, so I've been taking recommendations zile zenye somebody recommends me for a job, I apply, and see how it goes, like that. So recently a friend of mine called me akaniuliza, yeah, do you want to work at such and such a company? I don't know if I can say the names, but it's a government parastatal. So it's like, do you want to work at such a place? I've been called by a friend of mine who, like, somebody called him, knew all his details, all his past working places, knew his current working places, and it really sounded like somebody they had studied with in campus or worked with at some point. It's just that he couldn't place it, but he had like very intimate, very detailed details, like those ones that somebody who knows you ndo anaweza jua. So they talked. He sounded familiar, but he couldn't place him. Then eventually akamuuliza whether he knows any instrumentation engineers, because I'm an instrumentation engineer. Akauliza whether he knows any engineers who would work. They're looking to fill a position in that parastatal. So yeah, the friend of mine knew I was job hunting and looking for better opportunities. Yeye hakuwa interested in the same, because alikuwa tu ameanza a new job. So yeah, akanipatia an email. No, actually, I like updated my CV, forwarded it to him. Then he forwarded to the guy. Yeah, that's what happened. But the CV had my contact. So the next day, the guy calls me. Akaniambia, we have considered you since you are recommended by somebody reputable. We are considering you for that position. And he talked as though he is in the he said he is in the board of directors in that company, or head of in the board of directors, or somebody really high up in the technical team. I don't know how those administrational structures usually work. Which yeah, I think that's a lesson I need to learn too. I need to learn how these things work. Somebody doesn't tell me something fishy and I'm there nodding my head. So yeah, he told me that. He told me he needs, since it's a parastatal, he needs the clearance, the chapter 6 clearance, like all those certificates from ESCC, CRB, nini, all of them. So that made sense. That made sense to me, because obviously if it's a parastatal, they needed that kind of thing. So I sent all my documentation, all my academic papers first. He went through them. He told me I'm okay, I qualify for that position, and he needs the chapter 6 documentation. So I didn't have them. And I tried to explain that to him. He told me, no, it's very urgent. He needs them by 2 p.m. on that day. At that time, we were talking at around 11. He told me he needs them at 2 p.m. So I started panicking. I'm not able to access them in that short amount of period, because those needs, those documentations take long. But I was not aware how long they take anyway, but I was aware you have to pay to get them. So he tells me he's going to give me the number of head of ICT at Huduma Center GPO. I go talk to him. Then he'll sort me out. Like, he'll generate those certificates for me, and he can send them directly to the guy. So I am not familiar with the process of accessing those certificates, because I've never had to use them before. I've never worked for a parastatal, and I think that's the only situation in which they're usually asked for. So I called the Huduma Center guy. The guy told me, the certificates are going to require 13K. I can send them to him and he can start working on them immediately. So that made sense to me too, because I knew you had to pay a slightly exaggerated price for those certificates. Like, I knew that there are certificates that cost 5K in there, certificates that cost 3K, like CRB, ACC. I knew the certificates that cost money. So the figure made sense to me. Then Akasemati, since he's doing this urgently, like it's a favor, it's not something he has to do. He's going to need Yamacho, so he wants 3K on top. So the value becomes 16K. So me, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Then he was there. Actually, he was actually reprimanding me at why I didn't apply for those things early enough. If I know such a big wig from that parastatal, why am I not? Yeah, like he was reprimanding me for being irresponsible. Like how dare I be the last minute kind of person when I'm applying for such a high stakes job. So he was like, unajua, when you know that person, you're getting a job direct kwa sababu tunamjua, like we know that guy. So I think it's something he usually does. Ni kama the way you would know the head of Kenya Airways. Yeah, he was talking as though he's a well-known person, so they know it's a direct job because yeah, I'm dealing with that kind of person. So he agreed, and he generated like two of those certificates. He generated the CRB certificate and it was CRB and ACC. So akanitumia on WhatsApp, akaniuliza whether she should forward directly ama nitumie mini forward. I was like, either way it works, but you can send them to me so that in case I need them for something else, I can use them. So he sent two. I forwarded them to that guy. The guy said, okay, this will hold the CEO kiasi. This will hold it kwa sababu alikuwa anasema wametoka meeting and it's urgent, they need to finish that thing, they need to confirm me. It sounded like they really urgently needed to fill that position. So I sent those two. Then akaniharakisha akasema, make sure you get the others by 3, please, like call that guy, push him. Then a few minutes later the guy calls me ananiambia the certificates, the remaining I think 3 or 4 certificates, they need signatories. Like for them to be released, they need signatories from somewhere. So, and those signatories vile wamesikia ati they're dealing with this director from that parastatal, vile wamesikia ni yeye, they know it's a direct job, so they also want pesa ya macho. So they want 3k, like the people who are supposed to generate them want like 3k 3k each, 3k or 4k each for each of the remaining documents. So that's when I started feeling weird about it, but I was like, that's Kenyan, that's almost Kenyan, So I was like, okay, walikuwa ameniambia the salary range is around 190 because I don't know, alikuwa like he had really made it look like a sweet deal. He even, like, now the director, when he talked to me, he was like, why do you want to leave the company you're working with? It sounded like a mini interview. Then he was like, I see you have experience in this and this and this, so this is the amount of money we are paying. And he said like 190 gross, nini. He talked yeah, he talked like that kind of thing. Like, this is how much you're offering. Is that enough for you to move all the way from where you're staying, coming this way? Is it close to what you're offering because you're not willing to offer more? So if you're not comfortable with it, if it's less than what you're already earning, don't think you're going to come here and get a better deal because that is the maximum. Like, that is the thing we are offering. There's no room for negotiation. That kind of thing. So when I looked at the money I could make compared to what they were asking for, I was like, okay, that's a sacrifice I can take. So, but I didn't have that money with me at that point. So kwanza I had googled the Huduma Center guy, nikaona hata kama sitampata, I found one entry na ilikuwa inasema head of ICT at Huduma Center but in Nakuru. Then I was like, at least I've seen Huduma Center. But now I was at that point, I was trying to be careful, but nilikuwa nakumbuka that I'm dealing with somebody my friend knows. So nilikuwa nadhani if I'm going to get conned, it will probably be the Huduma Center guy, not the director guy. So I was like, if the Huduma Center guy tricks me with the money, at least I know somebody who can hold him accountable. And if that person can't hold him accountable, at least my friend should be able to hold that person, that director, accountable. So I had started looking for the other 13k because he had asked for an extra 13k now for the other 3 certificates remaining to bribe to oil their, I can't remember the expression. Yeah, to batter them up in a matter of speaking. So I was looking for that money, but I was feeling like I'd started getting some red flags because I was like, hey, what is this? So what sealed the deal for me is I called this guy, the director, nikamwambia huyo mtu wako ananitisha extra money. He's asking me for an extra 13k to generate those certificates. So me nilikuwa najua if it's somebody legit, he should be pissed at that. And if he actually holds the position he holds, he should be able to tell that guy to fuck off, But now ananiambia ati, hey, ebu, let me talk to him. So he cuts the call. Then after like 5 minutes he calls me. Then ananiambia ati that guy has said he wants to refund you that money, anataka kukurudishia ile pesa ulikuwa ushamtumia, but in no way should you agree to that. Make sure you send him if you can find that money, just make sure you find it kwa sababu this is a done deal and we are on a timer, sijui nini. So after he said that, I was like, no, that is not the reaction such a person should give. Because when I was thinking, if I was in that position and somebody told me like that kind of shit trying to happen, like I wouldn't. Okay, or rather, if my friend was trying to make such a demand on somebody I had recommended to him, like I wouldn't be. That would not be my attitude towards it. So no, I started googling. No, initially I had googled that director guy, but sikumpata kwa board of directors of that company. But I was like, if my friend says so, there has to be something. So I called my friend. Now, and I remember when I called my friend and told him about the certificates, like the money they were asking for, he sounded a bit reluctant. But me, I was like, me nilikuwa najua ni mtu anajua. So I was like, why are you delaying me? I'm on a timer. He sounded a bit reluctant, but I was like, because he was talking about calling that guy to ask him. Then nilikuwa na feel like that's going to ruin my chances, you know. But as he was not being clear that he's reluctant because hajui huyo msee vizuri. You're getting? Because like okay, or rather I don't know what was on his mind at that time. So when I called him now this second time, I'm asking him, do you actually know this guy? Then he's like, yeah, I know him. He sounded like, but do you know him? Do you know him in person? Can you take me to him? Like, right now, can you identify him? Do you know where he is? Nini hand. It now became clear. Ata yeye, hajui uyo mse. The guy called and faked familiarity. You're getting? He faked familiarity with him and he knew so many details. So he assumed this must have been somebody he worked with, but he can't place him exactly. Maybe he's using a name that he wasn't familiar with when he was working with or schooling with. Hey. So now that is where I start panicking, right? Like, because I've already sent 16K. These guys are like saizo wameacha kupick simu. Because I think at some point they also picked up on the fact that maybe I had discovered their con. So they stopped speaking the numbers. They stopped. Like, it was just a series of panicky activities. But now I could no longer access them. They're no longer picking their calls, which of course nothing could happen. Like, I guess idea anyway, because I don't know them. So I'm thinking of, I tried to reverse, ikakata. The guy alikuwa anasema amesha forward the money to the people, but obviously he had already withdrawn or something like that. So I tried reversing, ikakata. So I was only left with your option. You're forwarding the numbers that conned me and their details to Safaricom. So eventually I got notifications that the two numbers had been blocked. Oh, and one of the other details that sidetracked me was the guy had a legit company email. You get that director. He had that this and this his name. Actually, I think I should just say his name. He had J Karaoke at nini at the company name.co.ke. You're getting like those. But now the what I didn't note when I was looking back in retrospect, the company he was talking about had been changed. Okay, I'll just tell you what their company name, then you'll decide whether you want to share that on the channel or whether there's any dangers to sharing it. He was called J Karaoke at kcc.co.ke. But now when I went to do my research later, KCC changed to new KCC. So his email should have read J Karaoke at nkcc.co.ke because right now KCC is referred to as NKCC, like new KCC, because it's under new management. So that's one of the other things I I realized later. Then I also, when I went back to scrutinize the certificates, I realized he had, I can't quite remember the name, but unaona, oh, kwanza my sister alikuwa, like I showed my sister the certificates, then she was so shocked. Well, she was like, hiyo ya ESCC ametoa wapi? Kwa sababu apparently hiyo ya ESCC you never even get it. It's usually forwarded directly to whoever, like to whichever company has requested it. So actually getting it that fast was kind of a shock, you know. So like those are some of the things I noticed afterwards, but now there's nothing I could do. It was just like, oh, hiyo ni pesa imeenda hivyo tu. I've always escaped so many scams by a whisker, you know, like somebody who's trying to steal laptops from you, but anakuta tuseme at that point I was too broke to even have a laptop, so at least the people around me don't scam you. Like, I've been in a number of situations that I should have been scammed, but I somehow escaped. So this was the first time I was like legit scammed. I couldn't even believe it. My takeaways, yeah, I think I've covered all the details to it. I'm sorry this is quite long, but yeah, so my takeaways, Squeezy, every morning I wake up and check my levels of desperation. Am I so desperate that I could get scammed again or I could get cheated? Like, I think I was not aware how desperate I was to get another job and another pay. So, desperation. Desperation is not a good place to be. And it can sneak up on you. You are subconsciously desperate. So you accept deals without scrutinizing them too well. Because I think if I was in a place where I was earning well, like singekuwa, I could have asked more questions. Because in retrospect, when I look back now, there's so many questions I should have asked. There was so many red flags along the way, but I didn't stop. I didn't stop to ask the critical questions or even to do research. And anyway, Sasa, I think tena, like these people who try to, like, I think I realized scammers usually try to make things appear urgent. So anything that somebody, okay, there's true urgency, but like like there was another time somebody tried to con me of like that Safaricom pin thing, and it didn't work. That one didn't work. But nakumbuka hata yeye alikuwa na a certain sense of urgency. If you don't do this, we're going to block your number within the next hour. So, like they don't give you time to actually think. And I felt like wase wenye tena walinipatia hiyo deadline ya 2 p.m. at around 11, they were up to something. Like they're using the same nini. Like you don't give somebody the time to actually think about it. It's like a whirlwind of you need to do this, like pushing, and you don't stop to think. You're just like eyes on the deadline. Yeah, so I also learned that. And ignorance. So you're living in a bubble is not funny because if I had been aware of the actual process here obtaining those certificates, what they meant, how much they costed, and what they even looked like. Okay, I know I can't. It's not easy to know all those things if you've never interacted with them, but yeah, ignorance is another thing. Desperation and ignorance, and not understanding the tactics of the predators we have in this jungle of life. So yeah, I think those are my takeaways. And yeah, but I have to admit the genius of that nini. Kwa sababu I noticed anytime you recommended, I don't know that it applies to everyone, but to me, when somebody recommends something, then nikama I don't know, nikama I let my guard down kiasi, especially when it's somebody trusted, because na feelingi like they have done part of the vetting for me, so I don't have to be vigilant or I don't have to be hyper vigilant, because normally mimi kama huyo mtu angenipigia mwenyewe ningemshuku sana, but since it was a recommendation, I think I usually assume there's some due diligence that has been done by that person, so I don't have to be as vigilant as I normally would be. So I don't even know, like I couldn't even get mad at anyone but myself, kwa sababu the person who was helping me from the purest of hearts. It was not like nimse ninajua vizuri. This seems reckless, seems like alikuwa ananisaidia from the purest of hearts. It's just that we should have compared notes a lot before going through with this, but then they're giving me such a small deadline. Yeah, so those are my takeaways from it.
Hey ban, hey ban, hey ban. Woo! I think the most scary bit for me is that cons are not scared to invest. They will put in time and their very own resources, and they will wait for the returns. I think the most scary bit is that con evolves. The same way you wake up to go to work, con people actually have a career. They have an industry that is flourishing. And every day they think of innovative ways. Because I was just like, what on earth? The certificates that the sister tells her, these are not certificates that you can just get like that. Actually, they're sent to the company, not to you. To think the resources they're willing to invest just to wait on the returns, and they know the returns will be bounty. Oh my goodness. I am in shock. Why aren't you people screaming? Why don't you wake up every day and go outside and just scream at the neighbors? Because how are you breathing? It's too much for me. And it reminds me of the Boys to Men concert when there was this guy who was seen trying to pickpocket a girl's purse. And then he was noted to have been seen in other places also trying to do the same. And a lot of people were questioning, would you pay an 8,000 concert ticket just to go and start stealing? And it made sense if this is a person who actually invests. So apparently the ticket is an investment, 8,000 shillings only. But then if I get in and I manage to steal one phone that goes for 20,000 already, phones even go for more. Like no one is walking around with a 20,000 phone. That's a very basic phone. So can you imagine if I steal a phone? Let's assume that the phone's value is at 20,000. My ticket is back and I have extra money. So you can imagine if I've only invested 8,000 to get into the concert and then I steal 8 phones that day. It's 10 times. It's 10 times the initial investment. It's doubled, tripled. Yay. So what? I am so sorry for that experience that you have had. And as you have said, yes, desperation at your lowest point when you feel like you really need this thing. And sometimes it's not even the desperate kind of desperate. Sometimes we are desperate to just like get more money. Like you feel the pressure to just buy the good things or have the good things or have the things that your peers have. And of course, we don't want to equate it to being greedy because our politicians are on the greedy level and we really can't put anyone there. So it's sort of being greedy, but yes, it's the desperation that I think con people feed on. And I'm so sorry for this experience. I am very, very sorry. And the fact that you're looking for a job, why are people stealing from people who are also trying to hustle? Anyway, welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is Oliver Rao, and I'm really, really happy to be back. I would like to remind you that there are partnership opportunities on this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, there's opportunity for product placement. But if you are listening in from any other streaming sites, including YouTube itself, you can have a mention on the podcast, or you can sponsor an episode or a season, or you can just run an advertisement on this podcast. I am more than happy to partner with you. And on my Thursday prompts, I told you on social media you should check out on Thursdays at about mid-morning. I will post a prompt, then you know what the topic for the next week's podcast episode is, and then you can get to contribute and share your stories. So on this one, where we were talking about cons, have you ever been conned? And what's that one life lesson you learned from it and you were just like, yo, I will never again. So that's our topic today. And man, I've received quite a couple of responses and some have just got me on. I'm feeling triggered. I am feeling hella triggered, but I'll get right into them. The first story I've already shared at the beginning of the podcast. You tell me what you think about it. It's a friend of mine. She sent me that story a while back, and I remember promising that I'll do an episode on cons. And there is her story. Yo, if you're looking for a job, desperation, due diligence, just think of all the pointers that she has pointed out. And yo, I'm so sorry. And I hope things actually look up for you. Now let's get to the prompt responses that I got directly through my DMs. I asked you, have you been conned? And what was your biggest lesson from that experience? So the first person here tells me, yep, I have, and let me tell you something. Here in Nairobi, don't trust even family members. Che. So this is funny because I'm one of those people who grew up in a small town. And what happens is that you are told your relatives from Nairobi. So then when you come to Nairobi, you realize that it's really difficult surviving in the city. And some relatives who are a bit insensitive will make money off their relatives who are not exactly from the city. So yes, trust no one. Trust nobody, suspect everybody. Yes, especially the closest ones are the ones that hurt you most because you actually put trust in it. There was trust invested in this particular transaction. Okay, someone else says, yes, think twice when the deal is too good. Yeah, Okay, this one I felt a little triggered because I am a child of luck. As I have mentioned before, a lot of things have come to me and just fallen in my palms. And I'm just like, you know what? I have heard other stories from people about this and it's not positive. How come mine is? So yes, when the deal is too good, you need to question. I tell people just listen to your gut. Your gut is always right. That instinct, that small voice. I don't know why the right voice is always such a whisper and the wrong voice is always shouting. But that small voice that tells you, no, baby, that one, listen to it keenly. And if you feel a glimmer of doubt, I think that's what has saved me from a lot of things. A glimmer of doubt to me is a red flag. If my body, my mental state just feels a bit about it, I'm not going through with it. And I've always done that in my life. And as you can see, I do not have as much character development as the regular human would have. Someone else says, yes, never to lend a friend money, no matter the situation they are in. This is very tricky. Because sometimes your friend could be in a very sticky situation. And when they come out of it, they're just insensitive to the fact that there were people who helped to pull them up when they were going through it. So yes, again, it's the ones closest to you that will hurt most. It's the ones that you treated with trust that you'll realize they don't have the same quality of reciprocity, the same like values you have in life, like reciprocity. So yes, lend friends money. There's my sister actually on Facebook is the one who commented and said she lent a church member money and that person came back for like a second batch of money without having paid the first one, and then they're just acting nonchalant. Ooh, wow. Someone else says, yes, hapa tu kwa phone, walai. So I guess you fell for those phone scams, the ones, the con men who call you and are like, oh, your line is going to get switched off right now. Please send us what we reconnect you. Maybe it's that. You didn't give me any more detail, but I am so sorry for that experience. Someone else says, we barua ya pesa. Dude even stole my original degree. I am so sorry. Cons are the worst. Cons are the worst. Cons are the worst. Aki, guy, return his degree. Woye, take his money and his phone. Return his degree. Oh my goodness. But barua ya pesa is a very common con story in Nairobi. I don't know if it's in Nairobi only or it's across the world. But I saw a TikTok where someone was describing that con and it wasn't in Kenya. So I guess it's something around the world. So you'll just be minding your own business in town and then you'll stumble upon an envelope. And when you pick it up, someone will come up to you and be like, oh, that's money. That could be money. I saw someone drop it. And then they'll be like, can we split the money? So then you open the envelope and you find like it's usually a bunch of money, like a good stack of notes. So usually they tell you, let's go this way. People will see us here and they'll want the money. So then they take you to a secluded corner and they'll be like, so I'm going to go in, you remain with the money, give me, or you take the money, go and deposit the money and you can, let me hold your phone for you or something of the sort. So you can give them maybe your backpack or whatever it is you were carrying and then you can go and deposit the money. So in your head, you're thinking, this money I'm carrying can't be less than 100,000 shillings, right? So even if he disappears with my phone and my laptop, it still doesn't compare to how much money I have over him. So then you will get to a point and when you'll open the envelope, you'll realize that it's only the note, the money, then there's one note that has been used to just cover a bunch of papers. So it's not actual. money, just the first one. And the first one is usually like, it's not even usually 1,000 bob, it's like 50 shillings or something. So that's a very, very common con in Nairobi, Kenya. So many people have been conned like that. I hope you now know. For the ones that I can remember, the description of the type of cons that I can remember, I will tell you right here. So watch out for them. If you pick up an envelope in town, do not agree to split it with anyone. You say you're going with the envelope, or leave them with the envelope. Either way, it's not worth what you're going to experience. Someone else says, please don't remind me how I lost my first phone bought by 09 Sensors money in Eldoret. I don't know how to suck my teeth. But yeah, so you lost your phone. You don't give me any details as to how you lost your phone, but you remember why it's so painful, because you worked for Sensors during the 2009 elections. 2009 Census, sorry, not elections. Census, they're counting the population. You worked hard during that period. You got your money. You went and bought your phone. And then someone was like, oh, come, let me keep that phone for you. Let me keep it safe somewhere where you'll never find it. I am so sorry for that experience. I am so sorry. Someone else says, my greed made it possible for me to be conned. As I had mentioned, greed, it's the greed that will get you there. It's the greed. And most of this high stake cons, like you heard the ones that involve the government or tenders or like big money, most of the times it's usually because these people are greedy. And sometimes you might be greedy and you're the lowest rank in that bureaucratic process. You're amongst the lowest in the ranks. So when shit hits the fan, you are either the sacrificial lamb, or you're the one sacrificial lamb, or the one who goes on a loss most of the time. So yeah, greed is greed. But anyway, we are humans. What to do? Someone else says Binance. Isn't Binance that crypto thing? I am so scared of crypto. I have never touched my hands on crypto. I've never even had an account for cryptocurrency. I am so scared about it, but I see my friend trading. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she knows things. She knows things. Me, I don't. But crypto is very huge on cons. A lot of people have been conned through cryptocurrency. So I hope you know better now. Someone else says, siku ingine I was also conned 2K. The ones for buying Fuliza limit increase. I don't know whether you deserve this. Okay, so I didn't even know this existed until I saw this. Fuliza limit. So Fuliza, for people who don't know, probably who are not Kenyans, Fuliza is a money lending what is it called? It's a money lending platform. So there are people who you pay a little something, and then they increase your loan limit. So your loan limit could have been 2,000 shillings, but somehow these people can figure out, they can mess up the system so that your loan is increased to say 10,000. So you don't feel anything paying them 2,000 to get you like a higher loan limit. I didn't know this existed. What I remember existed like this before Fuliza was airtime for phones. So you'd find people, usually our service providers, Airtel, Safaricom, have their own bundles that they sell us. But you'll find that there are people who, I don't know what they do with the system, but you'll send them some money and then they buy you ridiculous amount of this airtime or something. Like instead, I would send you 50 bob. And no, 50 bob using your service provider would buy you, say, 200 MBs of bundles. But then there's this person who's telling you, send me 50 bob, I give you 5,000 MB of bundles. Yeah, so is that kind of con. So that's where you lost your money. I did not know about the Fuliza one. I'm just learning about it. Someone else says, I don't know if this even counts as a con story or a blessing. Lol. So I don't know what the con story was, but sometimes things happen and you realize what you'd have lost instead of your money probably was something more valuable, like maybe your life. So if it's in that case, I guess a blessing is a blessing, right? Someone else says, let me tell you, Maina. And then you left it at that. But here is one thing. I understand that con is it makes you very vulnerable. It is embarrassing. It is even scary to share that you are actually conned. It is so embarrassing. And with time, we'll just learn to be a bit open about con. Because even you, when you start looking back, you can poke holes into your strategy of trying to gain this thing. You realize, oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Looking back now, why didn't I? You see, even the first story that I shared, that girl says, I even thought to myself, why didn't I go back to my friend and compare notes? The friend who referred me, why didn't I compare notes with him as many times as possible? But then all that comes after whatever has happened has already happened. But anyway, someone else says, never trust all ghetto kids. Not to say, but it is embarrassing when a toddler does you proper. A toddler. That's weird. But yes, so there's kids born in low income households. And what happens, like in Nairobi, there's a lot of beggars on the street who have kids. So sometimes the beggars are just seated and then it's the kids who follow people around. So there is the aspect of guilt that comes with not giving a child something, I think. And maybe that's what you fell into. So, and those kids, actually kids born in like the slum areas, learn to survive very early. So you'll find a toddler who's very sharp because, I don't know, they already know the odds are against them. You have to start learning how to survive early. So I am sorry for your experience, and basically I hope it gets better. Someone else says, I bought 2 pairs of shoes from Urban Collection. After giving all drop-off details to Mombasa, they blocked me. You know, I know this is another con I'll tell you about. So this is called Urban Collection. So if you've seen Urban Collection anywhere online, please be careful. Please be careful. But this then goes to tell you about other cons. So there are very, 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 very many con pages on Instagram. They're selling shoes. They're selling kitchenware. They're selling household goods. You'll just look at them and they look extremely presentable. Very presentable. But usually the first thing about them, the first red flag is usually let that person pass with his bike. Okay. So what's usually the first red flag for these con pages on Facebook, on socials majorly, is their prices are utterly ridiculous. Like, we know a good heel, like shoes, heels, a good pair goes for 3,000, 4,000. That's like the basic generic heel. But you'll go on their page and find like a heel, the trendy ones, the nice ones are going for 1,500 shillings. And you're just like, good deal, right? So first of all, their prices are usually not regular prices. So yes, there are people who are cheaper. There are people who sell things cheaper, but you just have to, there's some that look suspicious. And the second thing is they always insist on paying before delivery. And this is murky waters for small businesses because there has been so many cases where a small business has delivered something to a customer and the customer ended up not paying. And there has been cases where a customer has paid and the goods have not been delivered. So in Kenya, we are still at that push and pull with small businesses where we don't know who can trust who. You know that meme where 2 women are holding guns at each other? Is you. Yeah, that one. So I think that's where we are at. But for shopping online, I would really, 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 really insist that if they can get you your products so that you pay on delivery, it would be really nice. Otherwise, just go with the established ones. Just go with the established ones. But there are also cons on socials who know that people believe that cons are selling things cheaper. So even them, their prices are hiked. So you'll find they're selling hiked up prices, and then you'll believe them. You'll just be like, this is a normal shoe price. But then they're still cons. So at the end of the day, you are left to believe your instinct. Please just listen to your gut, because really, there's so many tells, but I don't know. As a big online shopper, I don't even know if I should do a full episode on just how to tell a business is not legit. But I'm so sorry for that experience. It's very, very common. And why I laughed, I'm not laughing at your con story. Why I laughed is because there was another Instagram story, another story on my Instagram post where someone said they even called to ask for directions. I think you can just con me without mocking me. I think the idea of calling to ask where I live and then just going mum on me, I think it's so insensitive. Just con me. Just receive my money and switch off the phone. Please don't continue to follow up on where I live. I think it's just disrespectful at this point. Someone else says, yes, I was drugged. Nilipeana simu, 6K, na nikaachiwa bill Galitos. Akicons are so ruthless. Lesson, ogopa kanairo. So, this idea of being conned, I don't think this is being conned. I wouldn't categorize this under con. I would categorize this under robbery. You did not do it willingly and in your conscious self. You were dragged. So recently in Nairobi, there has been cases of chloroform being used in the streets to drug people, whereby I think your consciousness is messed up with, and then you just start talking to this person. You become friends. They give you instructions and you do exactly as they say. So they tell you, give me your phone, give me your bank details, sign into your bank app, send this money to me, and you do all these things. And everyone watching you actually thinks that you're friends. So like in this case, this person was, they stole his phone, 6,000 Kenyan shillings, and they were seated at Galitos. Galitos is a fast food place in Kenya. Is it Kenya? Is Galitos Kenyan, or is it in other places outside Kenya? But anyway, yeah, so they were seated at a fast food joint, and he was left with that bill as well, plus his phone, and his money is gone. Why you gotta be insensitive? At least pay the bill. You've already washed that person clean, right? Anyway, yeah, you should fear Nairobi. I am honestly scared of Nairobi. Going to the CBD is such an anxiety trail for me. On days, if I know I'm going to the CBD, like say on Friday, I start preparing myself mentally on Monday. Because, Anyway, the last person says, hii yangu ni extreme. I'll have to DM you. I searched for your DMs. I did not see it. You still sending it. But I know, yeah, it's hard to heal from con. Let me tell you, con is worse. It's harder to move on from con than to move on from a heartbreak. I swear. Hey, anyway. That brings us to the end of the responses that I got from my direct prompt on my Insta stories. So now I will read other stories that came in that are con stories and their lessons. And guys, there is so much happening in this world. And I'm like, why are people so ruthless? Anyway, let's go to the first con story I got. Whew, are you ready? I feel tired already because I know these stories. Anyway, should I name this person? I stopped naming people. Let me call this person Evangeline. Okay, so Evangeline says, where 26,888 was the amount. She remembers it very well. I know it's not much, but in my defense, I was a comrade at this time. You're a student. 26,000 is millions, is billions. You can pay the country debt. Okay. I was a comrade at that time. I got convinced to join MLM. This is multi-level marketing. It's called Better Your Own Life Project. And better is spelled like alpha beta, not better for good, better best. First red flag. I saved up for that money, and in 5 months, I had accumulated the cash. So all I had to do was attend the meetings in Twiga Towers. These meetings, they used to teach us not to disclose much and how to prey on desperate campus students looking to get a side hustle. From classes I used to attend the 5 p.m. meetings for almost a month, na bado sipati the money through referrals. One day I was listening to a podcast on finance and they were explaining how MLMs work. That's when I knew nimekaribishwa Nairobi. So when people get conned in the city in Nairobi, we say you have been welcomed into the city. Like that is how you're received by the city. Yeah. So that's what she means by nimekaribishwa Nairobi. Biggest lesson, kumbe I can save. So I opened an MMF account, that's our money market fund. I opened an MMF account and there I started saving my money. Another lesson is money is not owned by anyone. It comes and goes. It's just your turn to have it, and don't get too attached to money. Finally, don't believe every Facebook post you see that they are hiring, and do more research on the said company that's hiring. There's a lot of hiring ads on Facebook. Just be very, very careful. And what I know about hiring is that you will never be asked for money upfront. Unless you're getting your job through very dubious means, you will never be asked to pay anything if someone is hiring you genuinely. And I think why I loved this story so much, it was my favorite story because she said, money does not belong to you. Money comes and goes. Learn to let money go. So I think I also saw Ivy Africa at some point. I don't know whether it was in her Money Mondays when she was saying, have an open palm relationship with money. If you can let money go, then your palm is open. Then money you have free hands to catch money again. So I think that is a very beautiful lesson because I think I was at a point in my life where I felt like I need money. And everyone was talking about making my first meal. I want to see my account reading 1 million bob. And so I was in that phase where I was like, I want to hoard money. But when you get to that point, you become stingy. You become a miser. You start hoarding money, and money that is hoarded does not help you. Money has to circulate. It's how the system works. Money has to circulate. It has to go for it to come back. So just be very careful with holding on to money. And this is also in the sense of debt. If you lend someone money, let it go. Let it go. Think of that money as money that you can lose so that you concentrate on just making money again instead of spending that energy on thinking about if this person were to bring me back my money, So I think that was that's a very huge lesson that I've learned over time. And I loved that I saw someone say it here and in reference to getting conned. Yes, you did get conned, but there's a TikTok video where I think there are 3 drunk men and they're saying, let money go so you can, or spend the money you have so you can make more space for more money. I know they're in their stupor, but they are not lying. So this second story was, it was a lot. Okay, I am ready. Let me prepare and then just start reading. Long story alert. Long it was. Thank you for being honest. So now I was busy minding my own business, then boom. A tall, light-skinned and very attractive-looking Luya man akaanza kunikatia. Ndio huyo mimi nikaingia box paka kwa bedroom ya box. Can we be serious, eh? Stop using funny phrases and people have been stolen money for here, okay? Little did I know that he was going to con me a clean 250,000 Kenyan shillings. Wow. He was doing computer supply business in Uganda, refurbished computers. Till today, I don't understand how this guy managed to convince me to close up and sell my clothing business that was doing well and join him in doing his business. As a very naive girl, I did. Now, at this point in time, his business was either not doing well or he just wanted to con me. As soon as I moved in with him in Kampala, he told me about a client he has been chasing for the last 1 year na amekata kumpea contract ya kusupply computers to his school. The director, the client, of that school happened to be a Jaluo from Uganda, so we could understand each other. So I'm guessing you're a Jaluo from Kenya. I went to that school using my own transport and managed to win the contract for him. Alikuwa na pesa ya kusupply computer 50. Ulimupea. After winning the contract for him, he came up with stories ati, kuna shule mbili alisupply computers and he is still waiting for payment. At this point, this other Luo director was on my neck with non-stop phone calls. He had promised students and parents that they will have a computer lab by the beginning of the term, na hata akaongeza school fee. Therefore, he wanted the computers supplied as soon as possible. My dear boyfriend knew I had sold my boutique and had money. He told me to chip in and supply the computers. He will refund the money akilipwa na zile shule mbili. I didn't know where to start, so he had to come in. The director needed a certificate of incorporation and registered company, all those documents that I didn't know where to find in a foreign land. More so, I don't even have a passport. I used to enter Uganda using my Kenyan ID. He found all those documents and the director needed, and we came to Nairobi with him, bought the computers and delivered them to the school. Remember, each and every cost was on me. We managed to set up a computer lab in that school. Then it was time for payment to be made. The account we had given out was his account, so the check was in his name. Mimi niko hapo thinking he was going to refund me back my money na plus profit due. We did the job together. Paka both the hardware and software installation. This guy did not give me even a single coin. He was 1 year younger than me. He even started telling me, "You think I can marry you? Siwezi oa shosho." He started going out with different women and showing it off to my face. Remember that single supply brought a profit of 500,000 pesa ya Kenya, plus ile 250k yangu. So he had money to show off around. The only mistake I did, and I wish someone had told me, was that we were supposed to open a joint account of a company account or a company account. But then again, how was that possible? I didn't have a passport or even a Ugandan ID. Yeye alikuwa na ID ya Uganda. That is the biggest con story of my life. Siku hizi I fear every man, hata yule ako serious who wants to marry me. Namuona tu kama con man. Hey. I have asked, why aren't you people taking an hour every day to go outside and scream? Because I don't understand how you're breathing. How do you don't wake up with hot flashes every day? How? I think this was so triggering because, again, someone uses love and trust to take you through this. And they've alienated you. You're in a foreign land. You don't know how to operate there. You have no access to things of your own. You've sold all that was yours. I think I was I was so triggered by this story. I was just like, it's not fair. It's not fair. And what is funny is that this is not the first story. And we'll do a podcast episode on how I don't know. I'm trying to be politically correct, but how men hate women with their own money. I don't know, like, I don't, it's just the idea of breaking you down to nothing, because the investment, the time you took, the patience you had to show me that you love me and you care for me, the patience you had to let me move in with you, moved my things to a different country, all that while you were investing, all that while you were plotting. It beats me. It really beats me. The level of investment you can put into something just so you wake up one day and be like, I got what I want, so you do says. And the idea here is that this girl was, the guy was 1 year younger than the girl. So after he got the money, after the computer's money was paid off, now he had money and he started dealing with other girls. And he would now try and break her esteem and be like, you think I would marry? You think I would be with like an old woman like you, a cougar? And why are you now trying to break her down? Is it because you have her money that you don't want to pay back? My goodness, this story was just disturbing on all levels. And you say you only lost 250,000. You lost way more money. You almost lost the 500K. Because if it was you funding the coming to Nairobi and sending things and like taking the computers from Kenya to Uganda and supplying and setting up the installation of software and hardware, baby girl, you lost more than 250,000 Kenyan shillings. You lost way more. Even before the money you might have used to even move from Kenya to Uganda. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I am so sorry. And I do understand how you wouldn't trust any other man who comes into your life. And I don't, that's character development you don't come back from easily. And I'm so sorry for your experience. I hope you're trying to get back on your feet, or you're already back on your feet. I hope you're back on your feet. I hope you, man, I don't know what to tell you, because that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. Third story. Let's get to the third story, because that one has triggered me. Let me tell you, there's a whole podcast episode for women with money and their men. Anyway, so third story. Hey, Olive, glad you are recovered and you... Okay, sorry. Okay. Hey, Olive, glad you have recovered and you are in good shape. Thank you. Let me start by laughing first, because it's too painful to be serious. Conned twice by the same person, and the so-called person was a close family friend. Let me tell you, it hurts when the con comes from someone close. Yes. So here we go. Around 2016, this family friend came to us with an idea to invest some money and it will earn interest. In short, pyramid scheme, but by then I didn't know. I took my help loan and even convinced some friends to participate. I know perhaps they think I just defrauded them, but I was also defrauded. And my mom even liquidated her business to come through for this investment, our only source of livelihood, where we came up with a fairly good amount. With a fairly good amount of money and invested. A month later, it bore fruits and we withdrew, but the friend convinced us to reinvest and only took pocketed 20K and reinvested. I only took 20K. Okay, I guess you pocketed 20K and reinvested. Allow me to laugh some more while I sip some water. So back to the story. 3 months down the line, the investment scheme, but 3 months down the line, that is the investment scheme, but the friend kept on encouraging us with fairy tale stories of how pesa itatoka too, just to be patient. 6 months down the line, no money came through. Long con. In between these 6 months, we could not even afford to put food on the table, leave alone paying of the bills. But whenever we sought help from the friend, he didn't come through. And at that time he was living large. After 6 months is when we realized all our money is gone and we don't have shit. I'm a partial orphan with a mom who was struggling vibaya. I told the friends who contributed that we have lost our money, but they said it is okay, but acted like they were not okay, but who can blame them? That thing made me fall deep into depression because my mom didn't spare me with the blame, but I don't blame her. Shule hata sikuwa nasoma. I could stay kwa nyumba for 7 days straight without even going out. Anyway, fast forward. My mom sold our house because it was what we needed to survive. Then the friend resurfaced ni kama alikuwa ananusa pesa a mile away. I don't know how Ali convinced mom I invest tena, but she did. I was in Nai Atacho at that time, so I didn't know. My sister was the one updating me. Hadi alisaidia mom kutafuta nyumba. The house was nice though. Acting all caring and always there. Hadi time mom alimpea pesa. Wasni alimpea pesa yote. Yani hadi ana make an effort ya kupick mom every day na washinde na yeye. Fast forward, I came back home after attachment and I didn't ask anything. I like waiting for someone to tell me themselves. And as I was going back to school, my mom told me she invested again, and worse is she gave everything to the friend. Let me tell you, I almost cried because immediately knew everything was gone. I didn't even utter a word and couldn't even talk to mom because I was in shock. I went to school and had the worst semester because I knew in my heart this time it will be worse because we have lost our home. In summary, the money was gone and came to find out our money ilijaza pesa ya kumaliza deni yake ya gari and clear the car from the port and didn't even have little mercy on us. It has been hell, Olive. We have gone through so much after that, from living in your own compound to living in the slum. But we thank God we are here and still surviving. So lesson learned. Number 1. Your worst enemy is your friend, but not all friends. Yeah. Number 2. Never invest money without proper due diligence. Yeah, figure out what it is you're investing in. Number 3, always use your most spare money in these pyramid schemes and always be prepared to lose. True. Number 4, when the deal is too good, think twice. True. And before you ask about taking legal action on the friend, we couldn't because we had no evidence. The money was handed over in cash, so it is our word against the friend. This is the longest message I have typed. I now need food to re-energize. I hope you have eaten. Because, after this, I can't even miss a meal. I cannot even miss a meal a day because you need the energy. You literally just need the energy to think about this. Because, first of all, I don't know, and maybe I'm being insensitive. But what can you talk to your mother? Because why would she first liquidate her business? Why would she liquidate her entire business and then sell an entire house? Sell a house. Do you know how difficult it is to own a house? Like, a house is the most secure thing you could ever have. You might not have food, you might not have anywhere to go, you might have nothing in this world, but you have a place to lay your head at night. Talk to your mother. She must have been under the influence of something because that can't be real. And yes, it's usually the closest people to you who will hurt you the most. And yes, cons can smell money. They know. Have you ever asked yourself why there are people who don't get conned? They don't have the money to be conned. Cons can smell money. And cons can smell money in the sense that you don't even need to have the money. They just they've studied a way in which they know who can have access to money. Because you've heard of those cons where they come to you, you're a student, you don't have the money yet, but they know you have a certain drive. You can get this money. You can go and ask people for this money. You have family members who can raise this money. Cons can smell money. And I think it's so ruthless that you would sit and know a particular person personally, and because you want a car, you'd watch them liquidate their business and sell their house and not give a shitload about anything. Like, I'm just like, yo, hey, Ivan. So there's something she said here. Always use the money that's spare, money you're willing to lose. It's very key, even when it comes to just lending money. It doesn't even have to be a con or anything. Even with friends, if a friend calls you and asks you for a loan, send them money you're willing to lose. Send them money that if it doesn't come back, you can say, okay, let's see how we move on from here. Because there's money that you lose and you literally have to be hospitalized. You need an IV drip before you come back to life. Because just be ready to, when you're helping out with money, help out with money or experiment with money that you're willing to lose. But then again, that is the delicate balance of business, because they say the higher the risk, the higher the returns. So if you're willing to risk a lot of money, if the returns are positive, then you'll have a lot of returns. But usually it's a very delicate balance. I am so sorry for your experience. I hope you and your family, your mom, can get back on your feet pretty soon. You seem to be very driven and to be very smart. I hope you can also be able to help to just stabilize yourself at least. You're wiser now, you know better. And from the lessons you have learned, you seem to be very money smart as well. So, gosh. Even for episodes that I thought we will laugh, the stories are still very, very, very triggering. So let's go to my con story. My con stories are very much related to what I love doing most because I am lazy, online shopping. But I think I am very, very, very good at online shopping. And that's why, but that's where I'll be caught. That's where I'll be caught, because there's nowhere else where I'll be able to interact with people and money like that. So my first con story was about abortion pills. So this time I was going to buy abortion pills, and let me tell you, I did not realize that there's a whole syndicate of abortion pill sellers on Facebook. So then a friend of mine wakes up one day, calls me, she's like, yo, that test is reading 2 lines. So is how. I call another friend of mine, and he works somewhere where he's very conversant with such things, and he gives me reference to a Facebook page. So then I DM that Facebook page. I'm like, I want abortion pills, and also tests, and the whole guidance shit. Because my friend could not afford Malistali. Malistali is a clinic in Kenya where you can go and get safe abortion, but she couldn't afford it. So we're looking for alternatives. So at the time, I DM this page, we talk, we're like, oh, okay. So all of it comes to, I think 3,000 Kenyan shillings. I think it was 3,000, but then I was hesitant. I was like, can I pay on delivery? They're like, no, we're sending through courier, so you'll have to pay upfront. So I'm like, okay, cool. I send the money. I didn't even think about it at the time, because I think, you remember the first story that we read in this episode, the girl who said when a referral comes from a trusted source, I think your guard goes down. So it was the same thing for me. I was just like, if it's Nani who's referred, person X who's referred me, I mean, why would I doubt them? So then I just send the money. And at the time, this friend of mine, the friend who's in this dilemma, is the one calling me, and she's like, what's happening? And I'm like, just wait a little. I'm trying to figure out something. So in my head, I'm thinking, I can't refer this person directly to this friend before I ascertain that this is not a con person. So as much as my guard is down, I'm still very much dedicated to making sure that I don't refer a con to my friend, or rather I don't add on top of her dilemma. So then I pay, and I'm like, if this is okay, at the time I'm not thinking I'm just thinking, let me pay for the drugs, and when I get them, I'll take them to her and she'll refund me. I don't want to go through the hassle of back and forth. So then I pay and I start waiting for the drugs. I start waiting for the drug. I wait for the drugs. Let me tell you, I wait for the drugs. They never arrive. I call the number in the evening. The number is off. I call it the next morning. It is off. I'm like, okay, I have been conned. So then I call my friend who's in a dilemma. I'm like, I can't figure anything out. Just find money for Malistali. So then talks to the boyfriend, she finds money for Malistali. So then we go to Malistali at the end of the day. But this story, I'm saying it here, neither of these two friends know. Because then I also felt weird. I was like, should I go back to the friend who referred me and tell them, you referred me to a con? And even if he was part of the con, what would he gain from 3,000 Kenyan shillings? Like, he's doing well in life. He's doing really well in life. So I was just like, maybe he doesn't know that this person is a con. And I also cannot tell this other friend of mine who's already in a dilemma that it's because of your dilemma that I was cost money. So these two people have never known to date that my 3,000 shillings got lost. But then again, that one I moved over it because, again, as we have learned, send money you're willing to lose, because usually I equate the money I've lost to something stupid, to what I'd otherwise spend it on. And honestly, 3,000 shillings is just me seated at a restaurant one nice evening and ordering food and cocktails. 3,000 easy. So I was just like, okay, I guess this month we don't get to go out. Con story 1. Con story 2. This one. Con story 2. Con story 2. So let me tell you again. This girl likes to shop online because what? She is lazy. So there's this place. They were called Appliances Kenya. I don't know if you remember them. So I used to shop online a lot. And at the time I lived on Wayaki Way at Mountain View. So I got the shop on Facebook. Let me tell you, I'm a pro of shopping online. Just finding places where you can buy things online and they're legit places. I am pro. So this place, I moved to Nairobi at the time, and I was furnishing my house. It was a bed sitter at the time. I was furnishing my house. I was looking for a cooker, for a fridge, So it's these people who actually sold me these things. So at the time, I used to shop from Appliances Kenya so much. They became my people. And then later on, when I wanted delivery for my cooker, I realized these people, we share the same neighborhood. Where I alight at the stage to now walk home, their office is right there. So I used to walk to even their office to follow up on some of my orders. They literally were homies. And this company had existed for like 3 years. So I had shopped with them for like maybe 1-2 years. So since I didn't have the money to furnish my house like that. I was buying things one at a time. It takes a couple of months before I get a new thing. But now I am the online plug. So everyone is calling me to buy things directly. Like, I'm the one who knows where to buy things. So I've bought a cooker. I've bought a cooker for my mom. I bought a fridge for my friend. I bought so many appliances. Those people knew me by name. I bought so many appliances over like the period of 1 year, 2 years. So then the last purchase we made was a pre-order. And I had passed by their office. They're like, oh, there's pre-orders, by the way. And at the time, I had already sold or discarded my old cooker. So then I was buying a new cooker. And then my friend saw me ordering a cooker and she was like, oh, I'm also looking for a microwave for my Airbnb. So I told her, worry no more. How much is your budget? Okay, let me look for something nice online for you. I get it. So then I order a microwave and a cooker from this Appliances Kenya. And they are normal. They're like, oh, I've received your order. Sawa. You can even pass. They even text me. You can even pass by the office to check on your order a bit later. But this was a pre-order. So we were ordering, and then it was like some sort of offer. So we were ordering, and then how pre-orders work. The appliance is not there yet, but it will come. So you just pay and secure your appliance. I I didn't question pre-orders because I have worked with a phone company before, phone companies before, and pre-orders were very normal. So it was, I did understand the aspect of pre-orders. So then I order and we start waiting. But then I pass by the office and they're like, oh, the appliances are not here yet, but they're coming. So then I think it's my friend who starts getting worried, the friend who ordered the microwave. 2-3 days later, she's like, hey, Olive, are you sure? Are you sure? And it's that every time she'd ask me, I'd follow up on WhatsApp and they'd be like, oh, we are processing your order. We are processing your order. I don't know why I was or maybe I used to get home late after they've closed the office. I didn't pass by the office as often. And in my head, I'm thinking, to date, I've never accepted that those people stole from me. I think it's just business that went bad. Because I followed up with them. So it got to a point where they started blue ticking the texts. That's when I felt a red flag. But we interacted with them for a while, like 1-2 weeks. Just WhatsApp responses kept going. So then I started seeing threads on Facebook. Has anyone ordered anything from Appliances Kenya? And there was threads and threads. Yes, I ordered an ini, I've not gotten, and they're not answering. Their WhatsApp is off, So me, I see people saying that their phones are off, but me, I'm chatting on WhatsApp and it's getting blue tick. I can see a blue tick, meaning someone is reading. And they had 2 numbers. There's another number that keeps responding, and there's a number that just blue ticks. Then with time, both numbers started blue ticking. And then the day I woke up and the message was gray ticked, I just knew it's over. Maybe this is actually a con. Maybe it is a con. So then my friend sends me a link for Citizen TV, 9 p.m. o'clock news. The friend who ordered the microwave, 9 p.m. o'clock news, she sends it to me and I open and I just see Appliances Kenya. So there was a whole lot of people right outside their office, right up home where I used to live. There was a whole lot of people right outside the office, and witnesses are just talking about their experience. And they're like, oh, I had ordered this and that. And at that point, I think I'm also feeling insecure about my purchase because people are talking about hundreds of thousands having been lost. And I'm just here with my 25,000. I don't know, plus the microwave. I don't know whether it was coming to 30K. No, it didn't get to 30K. It did not get to 30K. It was some ridiculous. It was just 20-something thousand. So at the time, I'm also thinking, oh, people have actually lost money. And Appliances Kenya have closed down after 3-4 years of functioning. And to date, I just keep thinking, would someone invest so many years of a business, a successful business that was working, just for them to wake up one day and close up and like go with people's money? And I think because the girls who worked at the office, I feel like they were friendly to me. I think they were the ones who kept on texting because I don't know, maybe they felt some sort of attachment. Maybe they or the person, the owner of the company, kept them in the dark while they were dealing with people on the ground. And he was probably the con master while they were trying to manage things on the ground. Because I really feel like the entire WhatsApp thread where they just continued trying to tell us, to explain why the appliances are coming, the orders are being processed, And if you followed up on your order, you'd actually see that there was progress on your order. But I guess maybe they were overwhelmed. So one of the theories that came up was that they were drop shipping. And so they got overwhelmed by orders. And drop shipping is whereby you get an order and then go fetch that order. So you don't have the appliance with you. So they might have been overwhelmed with that method of business, or their bigger person, the authority figure in the company actually told them, do pre-orders and let people order. Himself, he knew that he was going to con people because they've already established trust. 3 years of you shopping somewhere that is established, has a track record, beautiful. 3 years. That's trust. That's trust. So I think he knew that. And he was just like, I'm going to fold it up at this point. And I think the people on the ground had to just bear the brunt for it because, yeah, it's how it is. Say, yeah. Lessons. My personal lessons. No pre-orders. I just won't do pre-orders. That's all. I just don't think. I still trust in the business model of a pre-order, but I just wouldn't know who will be able to deliver. Because again, as I am thinking, that con that I went through probably wasn't a con. Maybe it was a business, it was a deal gone bad. They couldn't fulfill the demands that they got or something of the sort. So I'm just thinking, I won't do pre-orders mostly for the risk of it. You don't know what the company is going through on the other end. And the other thing that I learned, of course, related to pre-orders, I pay on delivery. Apart from certain e-commerce sites that are very well trusted, I just pay things on delivery. I have to see it to pay for it. And some small businesses have actually established ways in which they can be able to deliver something to a customer and have it paid while the customer receives it. So what I have seen in most cases where I've bought from small businesses, they have their own resident riders. So the rider won't let go of the product until money has been confirmed, until they call the small business and they're like, have you received? Yes. And then they hand over the product to you. So yeah, it is life. It is life. But I don't think I've ever been conned. Like, I don't think my story even matches up to a con. But if it is, well, there it is. I've told you I'm a lucky girl. I'm a very lucky girl. Bad things don't befall me. And I'm so sorry. But yeah, I might share tips on how to shop online. I shop online a lot. I sell my things online. When I want to exchange something, like I'm tired with my laptop, I sell it online. I've always just been very lucky with online and transactions. But anyway, that brings us to the end of our episode today. Was it a long one? Indeed, it was, as usual. But anyway, I loved this episode. It was very insightful. I got a lot of pointers. I think there are things that I wouldn't have thought I'd get conned. But now I know. Now I'm just like, okay, yeah. And also check my Facebook, my TikTok, and my Instagram. Under the prompt I put on Thursday, there are people who also comment their stories there. So you can be able to learn from that as well, apart from the stories that I'm sharing here. But with that said, that brings us to the end of yet another episode of... Oh, I host another podcast called Just Another Podcast, but this is In All Honesty Podcast. In All Honesty Podcast. Thank you so much for waiting for me to get better. I am now here and I love it. And I love you guys for all the support. Bless you. Until next week. Bye.